Now, we're about to witness what might just be Drake's saddest moment of self-awareness yet, the cupcake himself finally realizing the L is way too heavy to carry. And honestly, it's about time. Because with everything that's been going down lately, even Drake's most loyal stans are starting to squirm. The denial phase is over, y'all, the meltdown is officially here. But before we dig deeper into this mess, because trust, it's layered, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, and it makes sure the Ice Spice Man's little ice minions can't stop the truth from slipping out. Alright, now let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and say it with me, when it comes to Drake, oh, this one's gonna be good. Because after becoming the internet's biggest punchline, yeah, the same guy who went from rap's heavyweight to a walking meme, Drake's finally getting dragged for the one thing he can't finesse, his own ego. The Blue Jays wannabe mascot, the shameless bandwagon fan, is catching the ultimate L right in front of the entire culture. And you know what? It's looking like the bot-loving, Karen-coded cupcake might finally be realizing that this whole I'm still on top act isn't hitting like it used to. The defeat? It's starting to show, and we've got the receipts. Because after all the humiliation, the Kendrick clapbacks, the lawsuit losses, the Super Bowl shade, Drake is finally out here doing something different. For once, he's not distracting us with a surprise album or some random stunt that makes us wonder how Jimmy Brooks from Degrassi ever became the face of hip-hop. Nope. This time, Drake actually addressed the World Series loss head-on. The Dodgers won, the internet clowned him, and how did he respond? With his favorite love language, a corny Instagram caption. Here's what he wrote, and try not to cringe too hard. Congrats to the Jays for a dream season and a legendary World Series fight. Got so sticky I had to take a break from steak and get some air. Yeah. That's the post. And it gets worse. Drake shared a video of himself hanging out inside the Rogers Center, sitting in his little fan seat, because let's be real, that's as close to the field as he'll ever get. And then he hits us with another ad for steak, his gambling partner, pushing it on his fanbase like it's gospel. But here's where it goes from desperate to delusional. In the video, Drake presses a button, a big, dramatic red one, and suddenly the Rogers Center dome starts opening. Now, let's make one thing clear, it's fake. Completely staged. Drake can't open a stadium dome with his phone. That's not how physics, logistics, or basic reality works, though judging by his fanbase's reaction, a few of them might have missed that memo. Some actually thought it proved how powerful he is in Toronto. But no. What it really proves is that Drake's still trying to sell a fantasy. He's feeding the illusion that there's something bigger behind the red button, some mysterious grand plan only he knows about. Spoiler, there isn't. And honestly, at this point, it's almost impressive, the way he keeps his fanbase binging on meaningless Easter eggs like this. The button, the dome, the steak ads, all smoke, no fire. But Drake keeps pressing it anyway, desperate to make us believe there's still something left behind the curtain. But seriously, let's pause for a second. Because when you actually look at what Drake just pulled here, it's hard not to see how desperate this whole thing really is. Yeah, he acknowledged the Blue Jays' loss, but only because he had to. It's literally part of the steak promo checklist. And the sad part? That's the only brand still rocking with him. Nike won't claim him, his own label barely tolerates him, and the only company still cutting checks is a crypto casino site. If steak is your last loyal friend, that's saying a lot. Drake's trapped in this weird deal where no matter how bad it looks, he's got to show up, smile, and play the role. He's got to keep pushing these corny gambling clips, standing by Aiden Ross and Eddie, acting like it's all just fun and games, when in reality, it's pure garbage. And sure, he's cashing out. He's getting paid. But let's be honest, it's textbook Drake behavior, selling out for a quick bag, propping up trash for profit, and calling it marketing. Because at this point, that's who he is. A professional grifter in a luxury hoodie. Every move screams, how do I make this look valuable even if it's not? But what makes this chapter even funnier, and honestly, sadder, is that Drake's become the joke and the punchline. Remember when he was heckling the Dodgers? Running his mouth about the Blue Jays like they were about to sweep? He was calling shots, making predictions, acting like he had it all figured out. Then reality hit. Hard. They lost, he got roasted, and now he's out here pretending to own the dome at Rogers Center like that's gonna fix anything. All that arrogance just circled back, magnified, and blew up in his face. And to his credit, if we're grading on a curve, this is probably the most direct admission of defeat we've seen from him in years. Like, this might actually be as close as Drake gets to saying, yeah, I took an L. But imagine if he had just been real for once. Said congrats LA and moved on. Maybe, just maybe, people would have respected that. Instead, he doubled down with another fake flex, still too allergic to humility to admit he lost a baseball bet. Because again, this is Drake. The Ice Spice man himself. The dude who built an empire out of ego and can't stand a single bruise on it. And now here he is, teasing this mysterious red button like it's some deep metaphor, when really it's just another steak ad filmed with bad CGI. Trying to look powerful while pretending to open a stadium roof. If that's not peak delusion, what is? And the wildest part? Some people think he was throwing shots at Kendrick Lamar with that clip. Like he's saying, yeah, Kendrick may have performed here, but I run this place. Bro, no you don't. You rented a seat in the stands and pressed a fake button. Relax. Honestly, if Drake's still this deep into trolling Kendrick months after getting buried in that beef, maybe it's time for a genre change. At what point do we revoke his hip-hop card and refile him under internet personality? Because this kind of clownery doesn't belong next to real rappers. And that's the craziest part, even now, after all the LS, he still refuses to admit defeat. Kendrick beat him. The Dodgers beat him. Reality beat him. Yet Drake's still trying to spin every loss into a spectacle, pressing fake buttons like he's in control of anything other than steak promo codes. And if you really think that video wasn't some weird jab at Kendrick, think again. We all heard how Kendrick checks stories and keeps tabs on the nonsense these rappers post. You really think Drake didn't catch that? Of course he did. And this was his petty little look at me moment. But all it did was prove the point we've been making since May 2024, Drake hasn't grown. Not one bit. No accountability. No humility. No reflection. Just the same tired grift wrapped in a new filter. So yeah, Karen, it's time to hang it up. The culture's moved on. The fans see through it. And no amount of red buttons, fake domes, or steak ads can hide the truth anymore. Drake's still pressing for validation, but the world stopped answering. And here we go again, Drake, deep in his fantasy world, rewriting stories that never existed. Not in reality, not in any timeline, not in any dimension. Just pure make-believe, scribbled up by ghostwriters and notebooks trying to convince us that this man is still him. Because now, we've reached the point where Drake's literally sitting in the stands like a fan, but acting like a king. He's cosplaying a champion in a game he already lost, trying to sell us the image of a winner, a leader, a competitor. Whether it's Toronto, hip-hop, or this weird imaginary rivalry he's keeping alive with Kendrick Lamar, Drake's still clinging to the illusion that he's running something. Spoiler, he's not. And I'll admit, for half a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, he was about to do something real. Admit defeat. Take accountability because that would have been massive. It would have been historic. A cultural reset, even. Drake, actually facing himself? That's the kind of moment hip-hop would have remembered forever. But no. Of course not. Because if we're keeping it real, there's nothing left for Drake to do that could ever make his legacy look better than it does right now, and that's already saying a lot. The reputation's shattered. The shine's gone. The crown's collecting dust. The falloff isn't coming, it's here, and it's only going downhill from this point on. Because Drake doesn't grow. He deflects. He doesn't learn. He doubles down. And the more he refuses to take an ounce of accountability, the more his entire brand starts to look like exactly what it's become, a delusional empire built on denial. Every friend, every collaborator, every yes man in his circle is just another mirror reflecting that same fantasy back to him. None of them grounded. None of them real. Just a network of enablers, unraveling together in their own self-created bubble. And the result? You see it in everything. The music. The gimmicks. The fake dome button videos. It's all just a reflection of that same out-of-touch mentality. We've seen artists hit rock bottom and bounce back, that's the beauty of rap. But Drake? Nah. He's not getting that redemption arc because you can't have a comeback when you never own the fall. Kendrick's sitting comfortably at the top, and everyone else is fighting for silver. But Drake? He's not even in the race anymore. His entire brand is stitched together from arrogance, denial, and cringe PR stunts. And every time we think it can't get worse, he proves us wrong. This was his chance. The perfect moment to take the L gracefully, congratulate LA, and move on like a grown man. But instead, he spiraled. Again. He turned what could have been a dignified moment into another episode of the Karen Chronicles, Drake edition. And now, as we watch the chaos Karen crash out unfold in real time, it's clear, it's not getting better from here. It's getting darker. Crazier. More embarrassing. And honestly, that's the part that stings the most. Because for one fleeting second, it almost looked like he was ready to be human again. To admit defeat. To step into reality. But nope. He slammed that red button instead, and doubled down on delusion. So yeah, Drake stays undefeated at being defeated. The biggest loser of all time, and somehow, still pressing play like it's a victory lap. But you? If you made it this far, you're the real winner. Appreciate you sticking with me through this circus, and if you haven't already, hit that like button, because clearly, somebody has to keep the truth alive while Drake's still trying to gamble it away on stake. Now, if you thought this was wild, wait till you see what came right before it. Drake is accused of faking 37 billion Spotify streams. Yeah. Billion. That story alone might just make everything else make sense. Click the suggested video, you're not gonna want to miss it.